This is Nathan Crutchfield, and I'm responding to a discussion on job hazard versus job safety analysis. I'd like to give my 2 cents worth with regards to the discussion going on in the ASSE group with regards to the use of the terms job hazard analysis and job safety analysis. Over my career, I've used these terms interchangeably depending on the whim of the client or the nature of the project, and I saw them as interchangeable. However, several years ago, I got into a discussion with Shannon England of the Ergo Company, and Shannon and I had several arguments about the use of the definitions, and she came to the topic from an ergonomic and rehabilitation standpoint. That was her forte. So we huddled in a conference room for several hours, and this meeting occurred a couple of years ago, and we came up with the chart you see in front of you. At the top here, we've got the overall reports and first aid, injury, damage, overall exposure to risk and hazards. That goes down into getting a detailed description of the risk and the hazards that are in the organization. We put a box in here where we could try to remind ourselves we're looking at sudden and usual incidents, sudden and unusual incidents, gradual type cases that are usual, might well be expected based on the work, and unusual. Then we went into a split. We put this job hazard analysis where we thought there was a need for discrete incidents. In other words, they were acute or occurred suddenly. And that might be from an electrical discharge, a chemical issue. We'll go into that in a second. On the other side, we put the job safety analysis, and that was based on exposure that resulted in gradual declines or gradual issues. Over time, the back may be going out, or we have carpal tunnel, or may have some issues with noise, but we put under the job safety analysis issues that would be of a gradual nature. But then it evolved from there. If we go over and look at the job hazard analysis, we have some of the basic topics here of analyze, diagnose and fix, solution, treatment, control, the hierarchy of controls, implement, and follow up. These would come into being, and the job hazard analysis would come into being when we looked at discrete sudden incidents, the one-off, if you would, a point in time type of case. So in that area we put vehicle accidents or jobs involving vehicle use. We've got the electrical hazards, chemical hazards, acoustic noise from a standpoint. In this case, we've got noise like sudden impact. Then we have the biological cases, bug bites, snake bites, rashes, that sort of thing. And radiation, primarily non-ionizing radiation when you get eye flash. And then the kinetic injuries. And this came from Shannon looking at impact from kinetic, where you could, there could be slips and falls from ladders, that sort of thing, but where we've got people kicking things, nudging things, yanking things, getting struck by issues with regards to kinetic being movement pretty much. So we've got sudden discrete incidents, and these require us to go through a job analysis to identify the steps and tasks required of a job, and we look at the tools, materials, equipment, environment, standard operating procedures, the overall JHA potential for diagnosing the issues. And in this case, at the bottom you'll see we've got risk and hazards under the employee's control. Consequences are designed to encourage safety. Mental, physical capabilities match the specific task the person's doing. So if it's an incident, one-off, that's from some sort of sudden impact or sudden case, we made that a job hazard analysis. So you'd be looking at an individual task within a job title. On the right-hand side, we did the job safety analysis, and you still have the same analysis concept of analyze, diagnose, solution and treatment, implementation of your recommendations, and follow up. And this would be based on long-term noise exposure. There could be some biological exposures that impact long-term. Same with chemical radiation. And even though there's an overlap here on kinetic, we looked at the ergonomic-based kinetic position, the motion, force, and compression, and how they impacted over time. And then we have, in this case, we had the job safety analysis looking at total job exposures, job descriptions, all the tasks and their steps, or all the steps with tasks, excuse me, let me get my sequence right, and their involvement of all the tools, all the materials, all the equipment and environment SOPs that particular job title might be involved in. So we're looking at the accumulative effects of everything a person in that job assignment might be exposed to. And the box down here at the bottom says risk and hazards under employees' controlled consequences designed to encourage safety, mental, physical capabilities match all tasks required by the job description. This seemed to help because what we're able to do is, one, realize that if we focus too much on job hazard analysis, and we're looking at, in the definition of job has shifted over the decades since JHAs were invented. The job now means everything, which is what we're showing on the right, but a job hazard analysis would be focused on what we now might call an individual element, individual task. Roughton and I broke it out into steps and then subtasks, but we did discuss a lot about some of the changes that might be needed in our nomenclature. Just a quick editorial correction. Realized after I'd pulled this together on our list of some of the core type hazards, hazard groups, we left out thermal, which would be exposure to heat and cold. I apologize for the oversight, but I guess in reviewing the slide and not having looked at it in several years and wanting to get this out quickly, I just blipped over it, so my apologies. Notice down here we've got the long-term impact from ergonomics, the kinetic, if you're doing some kicking and nudging and yanking on a routine basis, well, that's going to have a long-term effect. You could have an acute base type thing, wham, you're hit, or it could be chronic over time. Thanks for your time. Hope this adds to the discussion, and we'll hopefully be involved more in some of the discussions. Thanks again. This discussion is in tribute to Shannon England of the Ergo Company, with whom I had the discussions several years ago. Shannon has unfortunately passed away earlier this summer, and we miss her greatly.